We are tracking the massive storm set to hit our area starting after midnight tonight. Reporters fanning out across our region to see how people are preparing. Also, we now know the price tag and more details about that Republican health care plan. Will it make it harder for the GOP leaders to sell it to lawmakers in their own party? And then the fallout over the firing of Preet Bharara. What will happen to his high-profile probes, and will this open the door for the former federal prosecutor to run for mayor or governor or something else? Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Andrew Whitman, in tonight for Richard French, and we begin with the storm that could dump more than a foot of snow on parts of our region. FiOS 1 meteorologist Joe Chaffee is here with all the details. And Joe, these are some stunning numbers we're getting.
Well, sir, and certainly for this time of year, we're in the middle of March. It's been quite a long time since we've had a storm of this magnitude affect us at this time of year. It is exceptional. Now, the forecast for New Jersey, for North Central and North Jersey, and for the Hudson Valley is pretty straightforward. 12 to 18 inches, it pretty much looks like a done deal. Where the forecast is a bit problematic, Andrew, is on Long Island, and for coastal New Jersey, because there's going to be warm air that's going to try to sweep in from off the ocean, and how far west it gets will wreak havoc on accumulation amounts, which could be as little as 3 to 6 inches on the east end to as much as a foot in western Nassau County, western and northern Nassau County, and possibly northwestern Suffolk.
This may be the Hail Mary question, Joe, but a lot of times these storms, if they move a little bit one way towards the ocean or another way, the numbers can change dramatically. Any evidence of that?
Well, we're looking, in fact, why don't we take a look on the satellite view? I'll just sort of show you. First of all, it's two pieces of energy, which makes this very complicated. That one in the Ohio Valley, and then you have this powerhouse that's coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. So when it's all said and done, it's all going to become one big major winter storm off the Virginia coast. It's a big problem. We're talking about a 30 to 40 mile jog. I don't think the jog impacts New Jersey. It doesn't impact the Hudson Valley. They're getting the big snows. This is for the impact would be for Long Island, and as to whether there would be 1 foot plus snows extended deep into Suffolk County or just confined to western Suffolk and Nassau.
Which of these paths should people on Long Island be rooting for?
It depends on which the snow. I know which ones the snow lovers want. They want the path further east so that it's just all snow for everybody. The rain, the one other issue also very important, have to mention in all seriousness, regardless of what path it takes, 50 to 60 mile an hour winds across much of Long Island, and we have coastal flooding issues for New Jersey and Long Island during the high tides coming up overnight and into tomorrow. And
final question, when do we start seeing the impacts, the wind and the snow or the rain?
Snow will start to arrive in New Jersey a little before midnight, into the Hudson Valley shortly after midnight, after about 1 a.m. on western Long Island, maybe about 2 or 3 a.m. in eastern Long Island.
FiOS 1 meteorologist Joe Chaffee gearing up for a long couple of days here in the Weather Center. Joe, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're going to take a whip around our area now to see how communities are getting ready, and we begin on Long Island, where Kevin Vesey is looking at how the South Shore is preparing for possible flooding.
I know it'll be flooding here. It'll definitely be flooding here tomorrow. You'll have like 3 feet of water in the street right here.
Lindenhurst resident James Happick says he's seen just about everything living only a few yards from the Great South Bay. After Hurricane Sandy, many of the houses on his block are still empty, and now this neighborhood knows exactly what to do whenever there's talk of flooding.
You got to get your cars out of here. You got to get everything out of here.
It's what's happening in coastal communities all along the South Shore. In Freeport, where many homes have backyard canals, they're getting ready to hunker down and keep a close eye on the water.
Hoping and praying that we don't have to do another everything going upstairs. Moving out of our house for 12 weeks, getting contractors in here for another few months. It was hard.
This appears to be the big one.
Speaking from Point Lookout, an oceanfront town that was mostly destroyed by Sandy, Hempstead Town Supervisor Anthony Santino advised residents to stay home if they can.
This will be the one where we really need folks to plan tomorrow to take the day off.
You take your precautions, you make sure you park your car elsewhere, you make sure you have the proper provisions, your milk, your whatever, your shovels, and hope for the best.
And if you do encounter street flooding, you should really try not to drive through the water, because it's tough to tell just how deep it is. In Lindenhurst, Kevin Vesey, FiOS 1 News.
Let's move west now to central New Jersey. Different location, different sets of concerns. Natalie Patterson is in Freehold, New Jersey, checking out how people there are getting ready.
No matter what conditions arise from this major winter storm headed our way, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office is ready to help any town in the county with an emergency.
Having the equipment at the ready and the additional personnel, and again, our operations center here in Freehold will be activated throughout to make sure that we have the resources necessary in case we need them.
Crews have already treated the roads with brine, and the salt trucks are topped off and ready to roll. However, while county crews prepare for the heavy snow, coastal flooding, high winds, and potential power outages, they're asking residents to do the same. If you're in a community where it's common to park on local roads, Sheriff Sean Golden asks that you get those cars off the roads this evening. Besides, many towns will tow your car if left parked on a road during a snow emergency.
We need to allow the plow operators to do their job in an emergency, blizzard condition, and they need to clear the roadways. Not only for traffic later on, but our emergency vehicles in case there is an emergency.
Golden says there is always an influx in emergency calls to the county during a storm, but he urges residents to only use 911 for a true emergency.
What we don't want our residents to do is call 911 if there's no emergency. If the wires are down and they're arcing or posing some type of threat, we want to know about it, right? And so, that can be considered an emergency. But if it's your power outage or, you don't know when it's going to come back on, that's for JCP&L.
And finally, let's shift to the north. As Joe Chaffee told us in his forecast, it's the Hudson Valley that's definitely going to get hammered with the big snow totals. Ariana Lubelli is in Westchester County with a look at how county officials are preparing to handle all that snow.
Salt trucks are stocked, plows mounted, and snow blowers lined up in preparation for what's expected to be blizzard-like conditions. In Greenberg, about 4,000 tons of salt and 30 trucks are on standby.
Well, we're doing a lot. We're loading the trucks with salt. We're preparing, the plows. We're encouraging people to keep the cars off off the roads.
In Mamaroneck, crews have been working around the clock to get the roads pre-treated. Mayor Norman Rosenblum took us to the DPW and Parks Department yards.
We've been preparing for a couple of days like everyone else watching the snowstorm. As a matter of fact, this morning we just declared a snow emergency. And that is to let the people know, just using basically common sense.
In Yonkers, Mayor Mike Spano tells us storm prep efforts began this weekend.
Just making sure the equipment is all ready to go. This is quite a storm that we're expecting. The best thing I can do is just to remind people that if you don't have to go out tomorrow, don't.
And residents across our region are bracing for the impact.
I have my ice melt and my shovels, and I'm ready.
Yeah, get me some salt and some shovels and some food out of the grocery store and cut the TV on and watch what's going on.
And another big concern for tomorrow, power outages. Local leaders say they're working with Con Edison in preparation for any possible outages. Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino says he wants to make sure Con Ed has enough crews in our area in case this storm takes out electricity. Reporting from Mamaroneck for Richard French Live, I'm Ariana Lubelli.
And just a reminder to keep it with FiOS 1 News for continuing coverage on this storm from the moment the first flakes fall until the very last one is on the ground. FiOS 1 will have the latest on forecasts as well as news reports from across the regions they serve. Up next, we go from the snowstorm to the gathering storm over the Republican health care plan. The numbers are out and they do not look good if you're a Republican. Millions of Americans would lose insurance, premium and other insurance costs would go up. The question is, will all that be a deal breaker?